Welcome everyone to Yes Guys coverage of tonight's international volleyball match between Canada and Algeria. Algeria has set point here. Red back to serve for Canada. He tosses up the spinner, but a perfect pass. And the set comes up, and he misses the ball completely. Unbelievable. Still set point. Red still serving. And he too misses the ball and tries to run away to hide the shame. That'll give the set and the match to Algeria. A disappointing loss for Canada as Algeria takes this one. Terrible volleyball from both teams. Hyper VBall is a 2D volleyball game for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. It was first released in Japan in December of 1992 and finally made its way to North America in June of 1994. It features 12 international men's teams and 8 international women's teams, and on the men's side they've included Canada, yes, including all of your favorite players, red, white, Yukon, you know, all those guys on our national team. As well, they've included 8 cyborg teams that play in the Hyper League. These are robots and sort of people playing volleyball. And here are the lethal machines setting up their attack, and dug up by the Neo Crashers, and they'll set up their attack. And what the f***? The gameplay is pretty simple. You move your player around in the backcourt to the arrow wherever the ball is going to land, and your guy will automatically pass it up to the net. As the setter, you can hold the 4 directional buttons to choose which type of set you're going to do. A high ball, a mid set, a quick set, you can dump it, or set the pipe. As the ball is in the air flying towards the setter, if you press the action button, your middle blocker will run up and go for a spike. Once the set goes up and your player is in the air ready to attack, you press the action button again while holding one of the directional buttons to select which type of attack you can do. You can do a short roll shot, deep roll shot, or pound it short, middle, or deep. As well, on defense, you can try to have your blockers go up to block the attack, move your guy around in the back row to try to make a dig, or select one of 4 different types of serves that you can do while in the back line. The gameplay is pretty simple, but allows for enough variation to kind of keep things interesting. But when you're playing against the computer opponents, you basically end up doing the same thing every time, seeing where the open spot is and hitting it there. Not much excitement. What the game really gets exciting is when you play in the Hyper League. These is where you play with the robots that each have super abilities that you can use that add crazy new attacks into the game. And the pass comes up. They're looking to set up their offense here. Oh, and he hits it on 2, and he knocks him completely over. He's still lying there unconscious and pounds it back at him again. What a play. For a sports game, this game actually has a little bit of charm that they've added into it with funny things like, you know, when you're playing in the Hyper League, the ref is a robot and he kind of chirps you when you make a mistake.
What a lousy play. You weren't even close. Gee, are you blind?
As well as some of the coaching advice when you're playing against other teams. I don't know if it was meant to be funny, but I just found myself laughing. Alright, listen up boys. This Algerian team is one of the shittiest teams in the Men's World League. If you lose to this garbage team, you might as well quit and retire. So get your shit together and beat this crappy team. I can only find a couple of drawbacks with this game. They've managed to really do the volleyball quite well for such a simple concept and it being two-dimensional. The one thing though is on their block, it's really hard to get any block. You can get your guys to go in the air, but it's usually only a soft block or a tool. They never actually get the huge slam block, which would have kind of upped the excitement in the game a little bit. Would have liked to see that. As well, when you're playing against the computer-controlled opponent, things get really repetitive. And they do things pretty simply because if they were really hard, it'd be almost impossible for you to beat them. So you end up exploiting the same things every time. Oh, the guy's short, I'll hit a deep roll. Oh, the guy's deep, I'm going to pound it straight down. I even found a little bit of an exploit that I could hit on 2 using my middle guy if I found the right timing. Overall, this is actually a pretty fun game, and they've managed to capture the spirit and intensity of volleyball really well, surprisingly well for it being in a 2D space, and with the lack of controls. I was super surprised. This game is fun to play, but made even better when played against a friend. The amount of variation in the attacks allow you to have some kind of chess match battles with your friend. It's a lot of fun. For that reason, my final verdict for Hyper VBall is an 8 out of 10. A great game. Volleyball can be a pretty complicated game, but when you really simplify the controls for a video game version, it can work really well. Adding just the right amount of variation to keep things interesting, Hyper VBall does a really good job to emulate what a real volleyball match is like. Well done. Well, that's it for Hyper VBall. I was able to play this game with the help of an emulator that I got on my computer. If that's something that maybe you want to try out, definitely click this annotation to see a tutorial that I made about how to get a Super Nintendo emulator onto your computer. I want to thank you guys for watching, and we hope to see you next time on Yes Guy Gaming.